The 51% Rule. A rule of thumb for daily practice. Have you ever wondered what Nichiren's own daily practice looked like? I find it perplexing that he never told us. Not once did he write down, for any of us, what he actually did every morning and every evening. And that silence is strange, because Nichiren was not a man who held back. On almost everything else, he was direct to the point of bluntness. He ranked the teachings, named the object of devotion, told us which schools had gone astray and exactly why. And he did all of it in writing at length, often at real personal risk. His contemporary Dogen left behind minute instructions for monastery life: how to sit, how to wash, how to eat, how to enter the hall. Nichiren left us nothing of the kind: no schedule, no order of service, no count. So why the silence? Was he simply careless about it? I don't think so. The longer I sit with it, the more I believe the silence was intentional, and that it was a kindness. Here is what changed my mind. The silence isn't total. In his writings on chanting the Daimoku, Nichiren does speak about daily practice, only not the way we might expect. He says, in effect, chant the Daimoku. That is the primary practice. Then, if you are able, recite a verse or a passage of the Lotus Sutra as a support, and offer prayers to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas as you wish. Notice the shape of that. He fixes one thing firmly and lets everything else float. Chant the Daimoku. That part does not move. The rest is, if you are able, and as you wish. That isn't carelessness. He wrote down the one thing that must never move, and he deliberately left the rest free. And when you see that shape, it fits everything else he taught. Nichiren's deepest conviction was that the right practice depends on the age you live in and the person you are. The teaching has to meet people where they actually stand. A man who believed that with his whole heart would be the last person to freeze one ceremony in place for all time and every culture. He knew that if he carved a single fixed service into stone, it would harden into a dead form, and someone 500 years later, in a world he could not imagine, would be trapped performing it instead of practicing. So he didn't. He gave us a center and he trusted us with the edges. I find that genuinely moving. He left the door open on purpose because he trusted the practitioners who would come after him, which includes you and me, to find our own way of filling the day. But here is the catch, and every one of us feels it. Freedom without a center dissolves. When everything is optional, the important thing quietly gets crowded out by everything else. You mean to chant, and then the sitting runs long, or the reading, or the service, or just life, and the Daimoku shrinks to a few minutes tacked onto the end, if it survives at all. Openness is a gift that can leak. So over the years, I have come to hold a simple rule of thumb, and I offer it to you today for whatever it is worth. I call it the 51% rule. It goes like this: whatever time you give to practice on a given day, whether that is chanting, sitting in silence, reciting, or reading, whatever you choose to include, let more than half of it be chanting the Daimoku. That is the whole rule, 51%. Keep the Daimoku as the majority and let everything else vary as the day allows. I chose that number on purpose. 51 is the thinnest possible majority. It is the smallest amount that still means primary. It keeps the center at the center without demanding that the Daimoku be the only thing you ever do. Some days you may chant for an hour and sit quietly for 20 minutes, and that is beautiful. Some days you may have 5 minutes in total, and 4 of them are Daimoku, and that is beautiful too. The fraction holds either way. And notice what it quietly protects you from, in both directions at once. It will not let a long ceremony bury your chanting under everything around it. And it will not let you strip your practice down until nothing is left but the bare syllables, with all the wonder squeezed out of them. It keeps the Daimoku primary, and it keeps the rest of your practice alive around it. 51% can sound like a low bar, barely more than half. But think about what that faithful majority does when you hold it for years, day after day. John Wooden, the old basketball coach, used to tell his players that little things make big things happen, and that there are really no big things at all, only a long accumulation of small ones done well. A practice grows the same way. No single heroic session of chanting builds a life of practice. A modest daily majority does, kept quietly through the good days and the tired ones, until one day you look back and see that the small thing, repeated, has become the shape of your life. That is what the floor is really protecting. Something you cannot rush and cannot cram, that only a faithful majority held over a lifetime can slowly build. That, I think, is what Nichiren asked of us. Not a fixed liturgy handed down unchanged, but a living center, kept faithfully at the heart of a practice that can still breathe and change with your life. So here is my encouragement for you this week. Do not worry too much about getting the form exactly right. Keep the Daimoku more than half, and let the rest be yours. Chant it joyfully, and everything else will find its place around it. Namu Myoho Renge Kyo.